Hello and welcome to Sisamadi Yoga. My name is Candace and I'm here to help you define your yoga journey. This is my first yoga video that I am sharing with you all on this channel, and I would like to start with sharing a grounding practice with you as we focus on beginning our yoga journey here together. So with that being said, we will be getting started with standing asana practices. In today's class, we will begin with standing postures. We will focus on 5 yoga postures for grounding our practice. One being Virabhadrasana 1, which is Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 2, which is Warrior 2. We will also work on Tadasana number 3, which is our mountain pose. Number 4 will be Vrikshasana, which will be our tree pose. And then lastly, we will do Uttanasana, our standing forward fold. Let's get started. So we will be working on 5 yoga poses that will be generated throughout our yoga flow. That will be Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Number 2 will be Tadasana, mountain pose. 3 being Virabhadrasana 1, which is our Warrior 1. Number 4 will be Virabhadrasana 2, which is our Warrior 2. And number 5 will be our Vrikshasana, which is our tree pose. All right, so let's get started. We will work on Tadasana starting at the top of the mat. The objective with your standing poses is that you want to focus your attention on grounding through your feet, rooting your feet with the earth, with the ground, and having a steady stance that will engage your balance, engage your core, have a lengthened spine, as well as a focused viewpoint. So as we begin our Tadasana, the objective is to start with your feet. So coming to the front view, you will see that my feet, I have all toes pointed down onto the mat. You want to actively think about your feet grounding with the earth. Think of the sides or the balls of your feet connected with the earth as best as possible. Your heels contacted with the mat as well. So when you're in this position in the front view, you want to think about grounding through your feet. If you have to be exaggerated with it, that's okay. Shift your weight down, pushing the sides of your feet away from the mat, standing tall, because that's automatically going to activate your legs, your lower extremity. Standing tall, maybe if it helps a little bit to have a wider stance, you can do that too, by the way. Shifting your hips down into the earth, connecting your feet fully with the mat, standing tall, drawing your belly in, drawing your shoulders down and away from the back, extending the arms out to the side, tucking your tailbone in, lengthening your head so that you can imagine maybe something balancing on top of your head so that you are grounded with the earth and fully engaged with your body. So as you focus on these postures, you want to remember one thing: connect with your breath. And we will work on our breath techniques in another video, but for today, just want to focus on your breath naturally, inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. So as we come back to the top of the mat, we're going to do that again. The goal is to root into the earth, root into your mat, extending your body tall, tucking your tailbone in, drawing your belly in, lengthening the spine, maybe shrugging your shoulders up, and then drawing them away and down the back, keeping your core engaged. You can then extend your arms out to the side, looking forward at a focal point, engaging your breath as you gently inhale through the nostrils and exhale out through the mouth. As you take a moment here, you want to just inhale slowly, consciously in through the nostrils and exhale out through the nostrils as you put your mind to connecting with the posture, connecting with the body awareness that you feel while you're standing tall in this posture. You thought or may have thought that this posture is something slightly easy to do, but you may find that this is actually a little work in itself. So just standing in your posture, grounding in this pose, you want to think about your Tadasana in a way to start your practice. inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth as you set your intention before you begin your practice. So now we're going to work on inhaling through the nostrils, extending the arms and the hands up toward the sky. Doesn't matter if your hands are together in an upward prayer, or just having them up and away from each other, shoulders still drawn away from the ear, keeping your core engaged, and just slowly bringing your hands back down to heart center. As we shift into our next posture, which is our Uttanasana, our standing forward fold, from here, you want to think about having that Tadasana in your feet. But at this point, you are working on a forward fold so that your belly meets your thigh as best as possible, lengthening your spine as you stretch your head away from your shoulders, and then hinging at your hips and extending your head down toward the mat. Maybe letting your hands and your fingertips reach toward the mat here. At this point, I'm going to pause so that I can introduce your yoga blocks. Some may have short arms. So from here, if you happen to have blocks, you can have them on the tall side, extending your chest forward, bringing your hands to meet your blocks, hinging at the hips, folding forward so that you are in your forward fold. And just resting your head, letting your body lengthen, engaging your core as you inhale and exhale, maybe reaching forward just a little bit more. You may feel like your body, your rib cage, your lower back, all being stimulated in this forward fold. I'm going to take the blocks away for a moment to go back to the posture. So from a side view, I'm going to share that you're grounding into the mat, engaging your core, shifting your shoulders up and away, down from the ear, so that you can create space within the body to lengthen and hinge your hips forward as you reach your chest toward the mat. Slowly allowing your body and your belly to reach your thighs, inhaling and exhaling as you reach closer toward the mat. Extending your arms to touch the mat. Maybe your fingertips can reach here. If you have a little flexibility in the spine, maybe you can have your palms touch the mat. But if you can't, that's okay. Maybe that could be a goal for your practice, but you're still having that active posture in your legs and slowly reaching your head, top of the head, to face the mat. Letting your head hang here in your Uttanasana, maybe creating more space as you lift your chest forward just a little bit more, drawing your belly in as you grasp the back of your legs, maybe your calves, maybe your ankle, to reach forward. And then maybe just a little bit, you can extend your knees slightly so that you can have an even deeper stretch. From here, keeping your active breath engaged, slowly reaching up, back toward the ceiling, arms extended overhead. Exhale, bring your hands back at heart center and coming back into your Tadasana. This is a sequence that you can do together as you begin your yoga journey, begin your physical practice, your asana practice, as you work on grounding and resetting before you go into your next posture. The next pose will be our Virabhadrasana 1. That is your warrior 1. From the top of the mat, again engaging my core, active feet, rooting my feet into the earth. These postures allow you to remain and retain your balance as you shift from one sequence to another, going from posture to posture. So another key factor with your Tadasana as you reset, you can use this pose to reset in the posture for the next pose. So from here, we'll inhale in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. Maybe extending the arms out and up overhead. Inhale, bring your hands back down. Exhale to heart center. Grounding here through your feet. shifting your hips, shifting your weight, from one side. So usually you want to start, or usually you can start with any leg that feels comfortable. For me, I'm going to shift my weight onto the right side because I'm going to prepare to extend my left foot back about almost the full length of the mat. You want to think about keeping your hips semi-square, keeping your hips a little square with the mat. Whatever your long side of the body is going to allow your hip flexors to create that external rotation out to the mat. As you notice, you want to look down at your feet. As your front foot still meets the top of the mat, from here, you want to think about the left foot, thinking about that body awareness. As you extend your toes, as you extend your feet back, your foot back, you want to think about your toes in the alignment that it is with the long side of the mat. So as we have our hips square with the top of the mat, you want to think about your leg. Maybe your foot is about 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock in the posture as far as alignment. And then you want to bring your body weight forward slightly. If this is too much on the knee, you can draw your stance a little bit forward so that it's a little comfortable for you. But you want to have your hips square with the top of the mat. You want to think about your right foot now as you bend it about 90 degrees. From this posture, you want to think about your hips. So instead of it having your pelvis forward, you want to tuck your tailbone in to protect your lower back, protect the muscles so that you will keep your core engaged, your tailbone lengthened, so that you can create space to have a taller spine as you extend your arms up overhead, palms facing forward, shoulders away from your ears. Think about your scapula, think about your shoulder blades away and down the back, extending the arms up so that your palms are facing each other, drawing your belly in, bending at a 90-degree angle in your right foot, at your right knee, and gazing to forward, using your drishti is what we call it, engaging your core as you inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. So in this posture, you can also have your hands at heart center as a modification to maintain your balance, and also at your hips. So the posture, usually in this traditional posture, your hands are extended overhead. In this case, you can have your hands at the waist or at heart center, whatever feels good for you. Maybe slightly having a bend in your knee if it's too much pull on your knee, as well to modify the pose if it's a little too much on the lower extremity. So from this posture, to get out of the pose, you might want to shorten your stance some, so you can just raise your heel, bring your foot in some so that you can reach toward the top of the mat. As we reset into our Tadasana. So in this posture, I'm going to turn to the other side so that you can see what I look like from this end. I'm bringing my right foot forward, drawing my left foot back at about 9 o'clock posture, maybe 9:30, 10. I'm having my hips squared with the top of the mat, extending my arms up, tailbone lengthened, belly drawn in, shoulders away from the ears, palms facing forward, and bending at the right knee. Using a few rounds of breath to ground through my practice, settle into the awareness of the body, and being one within the posture, thinking about my intention as I begin my yoga practice. Having hands at heart center or at the waist, I shorten my stance to get out of the pose and come back to a reset. So in any yoga posture, in any yoga practice, the objective is to work on both sides of the body. So to grasp the concept, just think about resetting into your Tadasana and extending back into your warrior one on the right side of the body, meaning the right leg. We will then reset and think about the same posture, but this time in warrior two. So coming back into our Tadasana, taking the space here to reset, grounding and rooting in our feet into the mat, coming into a tall stance in Tadasana. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. Resetting one more time, inhaling through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. In this posture, we are preparing for our warrior two. As we shift our weight back onto the standing leg, we're going to extend the left foot back. Our left foot is pointed toward the long edge of the mat. Our hips are at the present moment extended to the long edge of the mat. Our right knee will remain toward the top, facing the top of the mat. And then you want to think about the alignment of the foot placement. So if you notice that the right foot, the right heel actually as a point of contact is aligned with the arch of the left foot, you are in a good space of alignment. You also want to think about your knees stacked over your ankle. Objectively and in traditional practices, you may have heard about knee placement being over the knee and more into alignment by thinking about your knee maybe covering the top of the big toe. If you see that it's out of alignment with the big toe, just go ahead and shift your knee and activating your quad and externally rotating your hip by drawing your knee back toward the big toe. Engaging your core by drawing your belly in, lengthening the spine. If it's too much on your knee, that may potentially mean that your stance is a little too wide. So draw your stance in just a little bit more to have a more comfortable position of standing. Extending your body toward the long edge of the mat. Focusing on your arms now, activating these arms. These arms are not lazy arms in your warrior two. So arms extended over the body, over the mat. Right knee is now bent 90 degrees over the ankle, extending the arms out to the side and reaching forward into this posture. Here is your warrior two. Inhaling through the nose, thinking about that extended arm toward the back, keeping that awareness within the mind. Extending, reaching forward into this posture is your warrior two. You may notice a little drop in the arm. That's okay. If it's too much for you, you can come back to your warrior two with prayer hands. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth in your Virabhadrasana 2. Extending forward and maybe having your hands at the waist to come out into this pose. You can take a moment to be in extended wide leg or in your warrior two to come out of this pose. You can shorten your stance just a little bit more and then swing your left foot to meet the top of the mat. Resetting back into your Tadasana pose. From here, you'll take a few rounds of breath to settle the mind, settle the body, settle your heart rate, as you may notice that your heartbeat has engaged just a little bit more. So resetting the mind, resetting your intention, resetting your asana posture to prepare for your Vrikshasana, which is the fifth posture, tree pose. So coming to the top of the mat would be your tree pose posture. But to give a little more explanation in this posture, you have multiple modifications to do this pose, as it is not only a standing pose, it is a balancing pose to help you, in a way, focus on concentration. So it stimulates the mind and also stimulates the body by engaging the lower extremity, as well as changing your perspective on your focus so that you can engage your mind a little bit more, and it stimulates the mind to be more focused. So you can think about your Vrikshasana off the mat as you focus on your drishti in this posture, and that's the key factor while doing this pose. Your tree pose, which normally looks like this, or extended up, and hands at heart center, you can do modifications, which we're going to jump right into modification 1. This posture, think about your Tadasana, but this time you will be balancing your focus on one leg. So shifting your weight onto your standing leg, you want to think about your Tadasana in this case, this will be my left foot, grounding through my left foot, tucking my tailbone in, lengthening my spine, engaging my core. I then shift my foot to meet my ankle. So my right heel is actually touching my ankle at this moment, and my toes is the kickstand in this posture. This is an easy pose to begin with an easy modification to begin with in this posture. So you can challenge yourself slightly in your balance to extend your arms out to the side, using your pointer fingers to engage in the posture as well. You can have your hands at heart center, or you can extend above the head. The next modification will be your foot to cat. So again, think about your Tadasana in your standing leg, shifting your weight on the standing leg, and then kickstanding your big toe to where you're reaching your knee up just a little bit to give you some space, maybe extending your knee out to the side just a little bit more, and then bringing the pad of your foot to meet your calf. As you engage your drishti, using your focal point. So at this moment, my focal point is the wall in front of me. I am using the wall to make sure that my attention stays there as I focus on my balance. Engaging my breath to help me stay tall in the posture. Maybe extending my arms out to the side to give me a greater stance of support, or hands at my waist so that I'm able to have a slightly easier modification in this posture. And then again, engaging my breath to stay in the pose for an extended period of time to utilize my awareness and attention as I'm in this posture. Noticing the things that may be required of me to hold this pose, but also to not use with any judgment, just more of a mindfulness tactic. So as we're relaxing the foot, resetting in our Tadasana, maybe wiggling our feet to come back into the next or the traditional pose. You want to engage your belly, drawing your belly in, shifting on the opposite leg. In this case for me, because I am starting to get a little tired in my left leg, so at this point I'm going to shift my weight onto my right standing leg, opening up my knee to the end of the mat, helping guide by reaching for my ankle so that the pad of my foot can meet my thigh, pressing into my thigh so that I can maintain my pose here. I extend my arms out to the side, maybe overhead to challenge my balance, or keeping it at heart center. So I'm releasing out of the pose because it is a little challenge for me on my right side, but I just let you know, we as teachers, we as also yogis, students, we will remain these students. These poses will always be a new discovery for us every single time we enter on the mat. So just think about that while you are doing your yoga journey. So we discussed Uttanasana, standing forward fold, Tadasana, mountain pose, Virabhadrasana 1, which is our warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 2, which is our warrior 2, and then Vrikshasana, which is our tree pose. So let's do a quick flow to help us incorporate these postures, utilizing our Tadasana to be our sequence to reset and enter into the next posture. We're going to focus on both sides of the body when we do these poses.